would you be able to tell us about how you met and fell in love as a Norwegian and a German?
Well, actually, Theater of Tragedy, my ex-band, supported Atrocity back in the mid-90s. That was Theater of Tragedy's first tour ever. And I thought this guy was... he always wanted to cut my set list because he had longer sound checks. But then in the end,
that is not true.
That's what you say. But in the end, I thought he's just amazing. He's amazing, and he's a fighter, and he's a strong, big German guy, and that's exactly what I need, because I'm a Norwegian woman, and we are not easy to handle. Not always.
Yeah, in a way, you're really right. No, and it was also like a tragic start in a way, because one of you guys had a stroke in the studio, and the Atrocity guitar player had to help out. So their guys came over for a tour, and they practiced in our room, in rehearsal room. Yeah, and then...
Yeah, Theater of Tragedy rehearsed at Alexander's barn. And then he came from work, and
I was working for the label back then, so for you guys.
Yeah, Massacre Records. And you entered the rehearsal room, and I just felt like, okay, there's something going on. So that's how it happened. I went on tour, and after the tour, I returned to Germany with 2 suitcases, and I've been in Germany since then.
Since then?
Yeah.
There was really something going on.
Yeah.
Lasting for such a long time. And
yeah. We've been married for 10 years. More than 10 years.
Yes.
And we've known each other for almost 20 years. Oh my God. And I still love him. Shit.
That brings me to another question where you are not only in a relationship, but you work together, you record. I don't know if you want to talk about how Master Sound incorporates into your lifestyle, but you work together a lot, and there is a phrase, familiarity breeds contempt. How do you stay together so much and still love each other?
It's very easy. We complement, we fulfill each other.
Yeah, that's true.
It's basically all the things I don't know, you know. You take care of that, and I take care of all the things you don't take care of.
Yeah, in a way it's like really great teamwork, patchwork in music and our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I think we are really lucky. It's a blessing that we can do this together.
Yeah.
Seriously, it's not so easy sometimes, you know. You do everything together in a partnership, like from job, let's say, to all the private stuff, daily life, but the music to us is not just a job. It's really lifestyle. It's our passion, our love. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah, hand in hand with family. So family and music, that's our life.
And family is number one always.
Of course.
Liv, your sister Carmen is more of the... she's a student of music. She understands the music theory. And would you say that you're more of the feeling type?
With me it's very easy. I was born with 2 very strong vocal cords and great, outstanding ears, and that's it. I never had any singing lessons so far, so maybe I'll do that when I retire.
Didn't you? I think it was a quick one.
I had a friend at the studio, and I asked her for some dirty tricks that Mighty Toys from Elfenthal, married to John Kelly, good friends of ours, and she's just she's amazing, and she.
Long before you were also first soprano in the choir in Stavanger.
Hallelujah choir in Norway. Yeah, that's it. But singing lessons, that's something I still will have to take someday.
Carmen, on her first album, had a different vocal approach. Her vocal instructor taught her how to breathe, and that's why her voice is so dramatically different on the follow-up and the third album.
Very different in many ways, yeah, and especially when it comes to singing, that's why it's so nice to do duets with her.
She has a deeper tone. I think she's out.
Yeah, she's out. Yeah.
So. soprano, so that's probably...
So I asked her, and she said she would be delighted to do a duet with you, but is there any chance that you will, on record, be together as vocalists?
It was Visa from these eyes into your life. Sigurlin.
Yeah, and then I did a duet for her latest project called Salmon, The Missing. Yeah, but she recorded her first album with Sari at our studio, at Master Sound Studio last summer. It was payback time, so I sang on Carmen's album.
Yeah, and but a real duet, like you mentioned, there would be something, you know, Irish Rain, that was also covered.
Irish Rain, yeah. We've done
a couple of songs, yeah.
Can you tell me if there is really a difference between Norwegian culture and German culture, and has that affected your relationship?
Well, Norwegians eat fish and Germans eat schnitzel.
For me, I'm vegetarian.
Yeah, and I'm vegan. So, well, Norwegians are more quiet and more shy. And the thing is that German means Norwegian. German buys the Norwegian a beer, and the Norwegian is very happy because the beer is very cheap. So as soon as the Norwegian has like a couple of beers,
they start to talk.
In the system, they start talking. Then the Norwegian will start talking.
Before?
Yeah.
A couple beers?
Yes. So Norwegians and Germans get along very well because beer is very cheap in Germany.
And the point is, I don't drink beer. But I can pay it for the Norwegians.
You shouldn't say this word, you know.
But you're a wine drinker. You drink wine.
Yeah, red wine.
And we live in a wine area.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But you know, metal fans.
Yeah, of course. That's something I think. You know, in Wacken is the best example.
Yeah.
All the Scandinavians come down, not only Norwegians but also Danish, Swedish, Finnish people.
They drink
really
beer.
Yeah, they love that.
Yeah, that's good.
Liv, you have said something in a previous interview which is fascinating to me. When you moved to Germany, you actually learned the language.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to talk about that? Because there are some people who enter a country and do not think that it is necessary to do such a thing. Why did you?
It's so important. It's of vital importance to learn the language because communication is the most important thing. When you move somewhere and you want to integrate and assimilate, you should assimilate. You should integrate. And actually, for me, it was like I had to do a test to get my German permit to stay, which was good because then I really sat down and learned the language. And I attended university classes just a couple of months after I moved to Germany, which was a great help to learn the language.
The first half year we spoke in English, by the way.
We spoke English.
Yeah, but the thing is, you didn't dare to talk German, but she understood everything.
Of course it did.
And I have to admit, I failed in the Norwegian language a bit. I know some sentences, but...
Merry Christmas, honey.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Yes, I wanted to ask, she learned Deutsch, but did you learn Norwegian?
But you know what?
It's now really a bad part here.
It's some point of time. Yeah. I'm a Norwegian teacher, so you know I could teach.
Yeah, you could teach me.
Would be no problem.
You know, my son, they make jokes out of me because he speaks fluently German and Norwegian, of course,
and English.
And English. When I'm in Norway with the family, with the Norwegian family, and I stay there a couple days, so I hear out what they talk about.
But you know, when we retire, we've planned to move to Norway, so you still got a couple of years.
Okay.
Liv, I have been told that in Swedish, or the Swedes I've interviewed told me that Norwegians, when they speak the language, they sing. That's how they describe the difference. So is there really a grammar difference between Norwegian and Swedish? Or when they say that Norwegians sing, is it because of your beautiful voice?
Well, yes, there is a difference in the intonation that comes to, when it comes to the voice, how you use your voice. And I'd say the Norwegian voice is more like, the Norwegian intonation is more like a singing voice. When it comes to
especially
grammar,
your dialect and stuff.
my dialect, yeah. When it comes to grammar, Norwegian, Danish, and Swedish are almost the same. So yeah, it's actually the intonation and the pronunciation of words.
So I have been told by a Swede that Swedish grammar is closer to English than it is to German, because in German the verb is always in the second place, or is that only in the Berlin German?
That's no, it's true. It's true. That's definitely true.
You are the expert.
Yeah.
You're anglistic magister, or how you say?
The verb is in the second place.
Okay.
It's true.
There was a metal festival in Eindhoven, in Holland.
Yeah.
And both of you appeared in there. But the special thing about that festival, which I personally did not understand, was that when Atrocity played, there was a swastika on stage.
Yeah.
And you destroyed it with a sledgehammer. And I had never thought of Atrocity as being anti-Nazi. But then I heard that because the festival was in Holland, you wanted to show the Dutch people that you are not the cultural German Nazi. Could you talk about that? Because
yeah, sure.
In America, people don't understand. In America, people have a knee-jerk reaction to certain words.
Yeah.
But there is maybe an apology sort of environment for German bands when they go to other countries.
Yeah. I have to start from the beginning. In 1989, I already did that thing on stage with a swastika, destroying it, because there were some right-wing movements going on, which I totally disliked that time, and we wanted to get rid of those people. Actually, there were people burning our Blue Blood EP, even shooting with guns on it and stuff like that. Yeah, so did that later in Wacken in 1996 for the Willenskraft album to make a clear statement again, and I used that at the Dynamo Open Air in Holland in 1998 as well, because we played the song Mussolini, and it's actually a song which is kind of parody of all the dictators like Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, all that kind of stuff, and some people could misunderstood, you know, this song back at the day. And while we played the song, I thought it's a good idea to make a clear statement.
So, is it really that serious these days that a German band or a German person has to explain to people outside of Germany that you separate from the bad history of Germany?
I mean, in general, I think it's a good thing to make clear statement, although I think, you know, politics and metal, it's a so-and-so thing.
Sorry, I'm not German. I don't think you have to do it. It's good that you do it, but there are other countries where you have much bigger problems with these kinds of things than in Germany. Germany is
that's for sure. I mean, Germany is a totally different country now, and we have our history
2, 3, 4
with that.
generations.
I think since the 2006 World Cup in football or soccer, it changed in a very dramatic way, because all the people were surprised how Germany is, and suddenly people were waving the flags again. It was like a big celebration of nations. They're very international, and you know, Germans nowadays, they have a great respect in every country. Like we're doing with the Moonspell guys now, and they only have biggest respect for the Germans in general, organization of things, the structure, our cars and products and all that kind of things. Also the metal scene is very huge. It's very important to have the German scene in Europe or worldwide, because it's a foundation for many bands to play the kind of music and to go on.
We were very happy that the Germans were finally waving their flag during the
You guys always do it in Norway.
Always do that. We have flags on cakes, on the Christmas tree. Everywhere's flags, and so we were happy for you.
Yeah, it's like this thing maybe in other countries. Like in America, you see all over the flags, the American flag. And in Germany, it was a little bit with a. Although the flag is a democratic flag, it's a symbol for freedom. You know, people were dying for this flag because it's nothing to do with Nazi shit and all that. So, but still, people were a little bit like, can we show our pride of being like a patriot?
Of course you should.
Yeah, but it was. It's different in Germany because we grown up different. We know how to handle it. We don't say we are better than other people.
Was your romance ever considered sort of a Romeo and Juliet tragedy? Were you criticized by other family?
No, my family loves him.
No,
my family loves it.
Never.
They even bought German flags when first time Alex came to Norway to meet my family. There were Norwegian and German flags, so they love him, and he's a.
I didn't know what to expect, to be honest. At the time,
I think you were nervous.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
I moved to Germany without my parents having met Alex. So when he came to Norway, they were all there.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and it still is a very strong relationship with my Norwegian family.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You presently have a Dutch person in your band, and I have heard that Dutch and German relations might not be so good. Even
only in football.
So can you talk about the old hatred between German?
Yeah, I mean there was a big competition in sports always, and still there is, I think. But it changed also, and we have like 2 Dutchies in the band. They are quite Germanized now. They love schnitzel and beer, of course, and bratwurst. So they are not vegetarians like me. And yeah, of course we make fun and jokes about each other. And we had, back in the 90s, I remember, we were on a tour with, was it D-Side or with Obituary, I can't remember. But there were some people shouting nasty stuff about Germans when we played there. But I have to say, it was really tiny minority, and the rest of the audience, they keep those guys out. So I think nowadays, we get along very good, and in the sports it's maybe a little different. Skating, they are really experts in that. The Dutch and Germans, they compete in football. Here you say soccer. There's also this friendly competition.
Well, I wanted to ask you in particular, because you seem very free with your words. I have heard that there's an organization, but some people say that it's only one asshole. It's called Antifa, and it sort of looks for Nazis where there are no Nazis. And have you ever had problems with Antifa or with being mistaken for right wing? Like, is there a special problem being a German musician?
Yeah, I mean, we had, like, that's the thing, like other bands probably too. We used German lyrics back in the day, before there was any Rammstein and stuff. Then people suddenly started outside Germany, or are these German dudes Nazis, or why they use German language? Hello, it's our mother tongue. So we picked only some titles and some phrases in German at that time, so even that was too much. But these the times have changed a lot. So there's no particular problem anymore anyway. We had some serious issues, ironically, with the animal militia, whatever it was called in England. When we were touring with DSI, they were setting up a bomb in Manchester and stuff when we played. Because we were guilty to play together with a band which is so satanic, like DSI, blah blah blah. Actually, these days are also gone. It was crazy back in the day. And yeah, like I said, I think everybody in the band was vegetarian, also some vegan back then, so I don't know what the fucking problem is. And, but it's like it is. You will always have this kind of extreme views. You will always views of people. You always will have those people narrow-minded like hell, or this fanatics for whatever reason. And I have to say, for me, heavy metal is freedom. If it comes to the music, I hate these boundaries. And I don't like if people complain about the band when they spread out, you know, in the musical style. If you don't like it, don't buy it, don't listen to it. There are other albums you may like better, so no problem.
The first two Atrocity albums, Longing for Death and Hallucinations, were mind-blowing, amazing death metal albums. And then you seem to go more of a, I don't want to say mainstream, because there's no such thing as mainstream.
Oh, there was no mainstream then.
But you went through a change, and then on your very last album, I noticed that some of the guitar riffs could be called black metal. Could you talk about the changes in Atrocity from the beginning to now?
Yeah, I mean, we started and we wanted from the beginning, maybe we were a very ambitious band. We wanted to be different, you know. That's why Hallucinations was called as the, or labeled as their first techno death metal album ever. And you know, we have to see, we started in '85, and until it came out, it was '90. We released a single, Blue Blood, in '89 already. And already then, there were songs like When the Fire Burns Over the Seas, which were kind of experimental. We were having this kind of weird and wicked, strange parts within the death metal music, and people were like, wow, they are so progressive and technical. Yeah, that was the kind of thing we wanted to do. But also back then, we had the idea to have the Hallucinations album played by an orchestra only. Already then we had those ideas, but we couldn't realize stuff like that. There was no budget, there was no connections. We had to orchestra, like nowadays when we record like the Occult album, we have an orchestra, we have a choir, we have much more abilities and possibilities to do things like that. It was not possible back then, but on the Longing for Death album, Todessehnsucht, in German, we have already classical singers there. We have some parts with orchestra, some with keyboards. So we wanted to incorporate that stuff already back in the day. And Blood was like really the game changer. We were doing a lot of stuff no death metal band was doing back then. Female vocals, acoustic songs, atmospheric parts and groovy stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff on that album, although I think production-wise we could have done some stuff better, but this is another story.
You once mentioned Teutonic Knights, and I have to tell you, have you ever seen the American movie King Arthur?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Alright, well, in King Arthur, first of all, they try to make it look like an authentic historical movie, but everyone has a Hollywood hairstyle. But there was a scene in the movie where King Arthur was pursued, and the army that pursued him went on ice and sank.
Yeah, yeah.
But that was actually from German and Russian history, where Teutonic Knights pursued Russians, but they sank beneath. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So do you think that it's very funny that Americans take advantage of American stupidity and ignorance, and they make it look like that's a fictional piece, but that's actually German and Russian history?
Yeah, I don't know if it's stupidity or ignorance. I think it's just Hollywood. They mix stuff together, and they think, oh, that's cool, or we could put this in this film. I think there's another movie with the Vikings when they're conquering America or whatever, and the Indians fight them back. There's a similar thing going on. Yeah, but that's Hollywood, come on. You don't have to take these things too serious. There's even a German actor in there, Til Schweiger. He's like a German movie star. That's quite funny.
I studied a little bit of German in college, and I learned the Berliner German, and I heard that the Berliner German is not really what Germans speak.
No, we have a lot of dialects in every region.
But in Berliner German we say ich, but every German I've ever heard says ish. So can you tell us about the difference between Berliner German and real German?
Actually, we have that Hochdeutsch. Everybody is supposed to speak that, learning in school, and you have all this grammar stuff, and yeah, that's from school. But we have really in Germany regions. For example, when Tosso joined the band, he's from an area called Hohenlohe. It's not so far from Bavaria, and our drummer was from Stuttgart, Miguel. So we were kind of more Stuttgart area, but in between. When they met the first time, they didn't understand each other. So he was like, what is the new guy saying there? And then we, really? You don't understand him? Oh, not really. What is he saying? You know, we have that dialects, very strong dialects, especially in South Germany. And a lot of people making fun about us, the Swabians, but we make Mercedes, Porsche, and all this other stuff. And there's a funny TV spot. In Swabia, in South Germany, Baden-Württemberg, we can do everything, but not talk proper German.
Come on!